You may or may not know this, but the idea, even the idea of the Christian God, is ontologically dependent upon the prior reality or the existence of the God of Theistic Essentialism. For without an unchanging, non-contingent, metaphysically maximal foundation, utterly free from temporal responsiveness, emotional fluctuation, or divine self-contradiction, the Christian concept collapses underneath the weight of its own internal incoherence. Let me remind you that the Christian God is depicted as mutable in will, reactive to external stimuli and behavior, and emotionally affected by temporal events. All attributes which, I remind you, violate the necessary conditions for aseity, perfection, and ontological self-sufficiency. Such a being, if it existed, could only exist as a secondary, derivative expression with a broader metaphysical framework, which would be grounded in the necessary, unchanging, and maximally great being of theistic essentialism. In this light, the Christian God is not the source of being, but rather a contingent theological construct, an anthropomorphic distortion, whose possibility itself requires the logically prior actuality of the God who cannot be altered, who cannot be appealed to, who cannot be swayed, moved, or temporally provoked. Thus, the God of Christianity, to the extent that it could be coherent at all, which it can't, depends ontologically and also conceptually on the essential God of theistic essentialism, which it unwittingly obscures. Now, with all that being said, any refutation that defends or attempts to defend a reactive, mutable, or emotionally contingent deity, again, simply violates the principles of aseity, immutability, and maximal greatness, therefore affirming a being that is, by definition, not God. If the being in question can be moved, changed, or improved upon, or swayed by external stimuli, then it is ontologically subordinate to something beyond itself, and is therefore not necessary, not divine, and not ultimate. Thus, every attempted refutation of this ultimately collapses into the admission which affirms a lesser being, which is not God, or it unknowingly appeals to the God of theistic essentialism, which it seeks to deny. I love you guys. That's it. Stay safe out there. I love you. And like I always tell you, it's never goodbye. It's always, I'll see you later. Peace.